Good morning, class. Everybody, please stand up for a prayer. Amen. So before you sit down, please make sure that your chairs are properly aligned and pick up the pieces of papers on the floor. Thank you. All right, so everybody please settle down. So once again, good morning. As you already know, my name is Teacher Lynn, and this is our third session for our Baking 101 class. Before we begin, let me check your attendance. Say present once your name is called. Auntie Nicole, Bagon Janine, Kasipong Feby, Taaka Ella. Okay, great. Seems like nobody's absent today. So before we go to our lesson for today, can somebody please recall what did we discuss last meeting? Yes, Nathan. Yes, that is right. So last meeting we talked about chiffon cakes. What are the ingredients involved in making chiffon cakes? And during our laboratory, yes, we also made our chiffon cakes. So for today, we have three objectives. First is to be able to know how to make Italian meringue icing. And the next is to familiarize simple baking terms and to appreciate the difference between bare cakes and decorated cakes. So let me show you these pictures. What can you say about these cakes? So basically, they're chiffon cakes, right? They're just like the ones that we did last meeting. What else can you say? Yes, they're naked. They're bare cakes. They're just simply chiffon cakes with no frosting on it. So if you're a kid, you're the birthday celebrant, would you want to be given these cakes? Probably not, right? Would you rather be given these cakes? Yes, of course. They look so much prettier. They look so much more appetizing to the eyes, right? So if you're a baker, it is not only important to be able to make a cake which tastes good. No, it is also important to be able to present an appetizing and appealing cake or an appealing pastry product. So as much as the cake is tasty, it also has to be pretty or appetizing, appealing to look at. So that is what we're going to discuss today. How to make an icing, a very basic icing, which is actually one of the most commonly used icing here in the Philippines. It is called Italian meringue icing, and yeah, just like what I said, is most commonly used, especially for commercialized cakes, because it is more cheaper compared to other types of icing. So before we proceed into into the procedure in making the icing, let us first learn these terms, okay, or familiarize these terms that we will be meeting along the way. First is the word beat. It means to whip air into a liquid mass such as eggs, sweet cream, or gelatin solution until the desired lightness is obtained. So beat simply means to incorporate air into something. So if you would like to incorporate air into your eggs, so that is called beating the eggs. If you are doing it manually, you could use a wire whisk, or you could use a stand mixer or a handheld mixer. Next is the word ice. It means to decorate a product by applying sugar presentation. So in baking, ice does not mean solidified or hardened liquid, such as ice candy or ice water, it simply means to apply frosting or icing on a cake. Next is the word mise en place. It is a French culinary phrase which means putting in place or everything in its place. Can you please read it for me? Mise en place. Okay, it's a French term that means to prepare all the tools, all the equipments that you're going to use, and all the ingredients as well. So that is called mise en place. Fourth is the word sugar or simple syrup. It simply means sugar and water boiled together. Alright, so for the tools and equipment, we are going to need stove and a saucepan. That is where we are going to make our simple syrup. Next is, next is the stand mixer with the whisk attachment. So we do have a stand mixer in our laboratory, but if you are planning to do it at home and you do not have a stand mixer, you could use, or you could also use a stand mixer for this one. Just make sure to use the whisk attachment. So if you have a stand mixer, it comes with 3 attachments. First is the whisk attachment. It is used to incorporate air into something, just like in beating your eggs or your egg whites. Next is the paddle attachment. It looks like this. It is used in beating your butter and other non-liquid ingredients. And then next is your dough hook or your hook attachment. It is used in making or in making breads. Next is the candy thermometer. In making your sugar or your simple syrup, it is very important to use a candy thermometer. Why? Because there is, we have to follow a very exact or specific temperature for you to be able to mix everything in together. So you really have to use a candy thermometer for that. So much for the tools and equipment. Let us learn let us now discuss the ingredients that we have to use in making the Italian meringue icing. Just like what I said earlier, this type of icing or boiled icing is cheaper than the other types of icing because, just look at the ingredients involved. You just need a cup of egg white, half a teaspoon of cream of tartar, 2.5 cups of granulated white sugar, and a cup of water. So how cheap is that, right? Yeah, so for the procedure, please listen carefully. Or before we proceed though, do you have questions or clarifications? Are you following so far? Alright, great. So first is to prepare all the ingredients and tools to be used, just like what I said. First things first is to do your mise en place. Gather all your tools, your equipment, and also measure or weigh your ingredients before doing anything, just to be able to follow the procedure smoothly. Next is to put your egg whites and cream of tartar into the bowl of the mixer with a whisk attachment. One thing that you have to remember, and this is very important, is that your mixing bowl and your whisk attachment should be immaculately clean. That means there should be no trace of water, egg yolk, oil, or any fat substance on your mixing bowl and your whisk attachment, because it will surely affect the volume of your egg whites. Your egg whites and fat does not, go along well. So you really have to make sure that those are clean. Alright, third, place your sugar and water in the saucepan. One thing that you also have to remember is to never stir your sugar and your water together, because it will affect the consistency of your simple syrup later on. So just let the water absorb the sugar, and then place the saucepan on your stovetop. Turn it on medium heat, and then flip a candy thermometer on your saucepan to be able to monitor the temperature of your simple syrup. Now, so you have to continue, you have to always check the temperature of your sugar syrup. Now, once it reaches 240 degrees Fahrenheit, it is called thread. So that is the time that you turn on your stand mixer and beat the egg whites at high speed. It really has to be at high speed because you are trying to incorporate air into the egg whites. So yeah, turn it on to high speed, and then after a couple of minutes, the candy thermometer should already read 260 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is called highball stage. If you're just observing it, there should be bubbles on the surface of your sugar syrup. That's the time that you turn off your heat, and then carefully, gradually pour your sugar or your simple syrup onto your egg whites while continually beating it at high speed. Okay, just be very careful because it is very hot. So just gently pour it onto your egg whites, and then continually, continue beating it at high speed until it reaches stiff peak, or it's you can see that it is already at spreading consistency. So yeah, that's it for the procedure. Do you have questions? None? Yeah, it's just it's so easy to follow, right? Just always remember the temperature. Yeah, the temperature that are involved in doing it, and just follow the exact temperature and and when to add everything in together, so that you will be able to make perfect little icing. So if you have no questions, please get 1/4 sheet of paper and then answer these questions. I am going to give you 15 minutes to do that. All right, your time is up. People on the center aisle, please collect the papers and then pass it to me. Thank you. So for your assignment, what I want you to do is to download a video either from YouTube or from Facebook that shows, or that should be a video on how to make an Italian meringue icing. Familiarize the procedure, because by next meeting we are going to have our laboratory and we are going to do our Italian meringue icing. So yeah, do you have questions? None? Alright, so if there's none, just make sure to be present next meeting, because we are going to do our laboratory. And if there's no question, that's it for today. Have a great day. Bye.